doctor.
Show them how much you love them with Bob Martin.
What would you say is the hallmark of a healthy cat or dog? A shiny coat, clear and inquisitive eyes, pink gums and white teeth? Well, yes to all of these, but often health issues are judged like we judge a book by its cover, not knowing what's lurking inside. The unfortunate reality is that many of our pets become hosts, not to a dinner party, but to a variety of parasites like worms and their larvae. In fact, it is a dinner party with your pet as the main meal. Lauren, what would you say is the relationship between these parasites and our pets?
Worms are a very common parasite seen in animals, so the likelihood that your pet has been infested with worms at some stage or another is pretty high. However, we'll find some animals can be affected yet show no signs whatsoever, whereas others might actually show quite severe signs of worm infestation.
Okay. You talk about type of worm, so there's many worms, there's not just one kind.
No, when we talk about worms, it's quite a broad description for those parasites that are affecting our animals' guts. Okay. 5 main types that we tend to find in dogs and cats. 3 of them are quite important that we tend to see more often. First one is your roundworms. Next one is your tapeworms. The other one that we see a lot of is hookworm. Those ones are nasty because they actually feed on the blood of the animal. And then 2 others, whipworms and threadworms, not as common, and they tend to be your classic worms that get into the intestine and cause irritation.
Okay. How would I know if my pet has got worms? I mean, what are the signs?
If it's a small worm burden and your pets are fairly healthy, their immunity keeps them in check. But if their immunity drops or there are a lot of worms that affect them, you will see signs related to what that worm's doing inside. So if the worm's sitting in the intestine irritating that pet, you're going to see the animal's appetite changes, they might lose weight, decreased energy levels. If that worm's sucking a lot of blood, you find those animals tend to get quite anemic. Those worms, if they're large numbers, can even clog in the intestine and actually cause blockages. And in some puppies, they can actually die from those blockages or from blood loss if the worms are sucking a lot of blood. Okay,
so if I suspect worms, what do? Do I just deworm or do I go and see my vet?
No, I would suggest if you're seeing signs, rather take your pet to the vet. The reason being is, as we mentioned, there are those different worm types, and there are different treatment protocols depending on which one is affecting the animal.
Lauren, you talked about worms being everywhere. Is there anything I can do to prevent my pets from getting worms?
Unfortunately, worms are worldwide, and because they're released in a dog's feces, they're going to be in the environment. But there are ways we can reduce the burden that our dogs are exposed to. First one is regular deworming protocols, which we do suggest. So we suggest that puppies and kittens from 2 weeks of age be dewormed, and then do repeat that every 2 weeks until they're 3 months of age. Okay. Then from 3 to 6 months, we suggest once every 2 months. And then from 6 months onwards, we suggest 3 to 4 times a year, depending on their exposure. In the case of tapeworms, since they're transmitted by fleas, it's also very important just to make sure you have good flea management at home. Absolutely. And then lastly, hygiene. Because it's transmitted through the feces, by ensuring you pick up feces quickly, get rid of it, wash their bedding well, and then those animals that are more prone to matted fur that might, when they defecate, get a bit of feces on themselves, wash those pets, keep them clean.
Good to know there's something you can do.
There is, yes.
But surely treating a cat and treating a dog when it comes to deworming is vastly different. You can't use the same product.
No, you can't. So the deworming protocol you're going to use in a dog is different to a cat, especially just because cats are so small. So you must make sure that when you buy a dewormer, you purchase a dog dewormer for dogs and a cat dewormer for cats. It's also important to consider the age of the animal and the weight of the animal. Dewormers are very specific because it's a chemical that you're using. You want to give the right dose, but you don't want to overdose the animal.
When it comes to cats, cats tend to be more finicky than dogs, particularly when we're talking about treating or deworming. Is there something that works better for cats than just giving a dog a pull, as it were?
Look, some cats are good with pulls, and some owners are good at giving pulls to cats. So pulls are an option. Otherwise, there are certain products in the market that come in a powdered form that you can add to the food. You also get certain products that are flavoured and not flavoured, so you've got to test around with your cat and see what they are willing to take in.
Thank you, Laura. There you have it. If you want to know when or how or where to deworm, you now know. Remember to keep your pet's health a priority, because if they're healthy, you're healthy. Don't try and worm out of your responsibility.
Bob Martin has 4 iPads to give away. To win, buy any Bob Martin healthcare product and SMS Bob Martin, your name, and the last 4 digits of the barcode to 34517.
Show them how much you love them with Bob Martin.
I want to live the best life.